with Jeremiah Stringer, the king of Kentucky backpacking, the red-headed wonder of the backpacking world, and my personal hero, Jeremiah. How are you, man? Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you and all the other lovely people out there listening in Backpack Land.
Yes. It's a funny thing. Last night we didn't do a live stream. We were actually recording on a Tuesday. And because we didn't do a live stream, actually Andy Parrish did a live stream last night with Ben McMillan.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, so they had a pretty good crowd last night. I got to watch a little bit of the replay of that. Of course, always good to see Ben out there, but he also had their newest hire at Hilltop Packs.
Oh, you got some inside info there.
Mr. Backpacking with Buckley. They are I guess he's taken on the role of the video guy. He's the one who's like, we'll just call him the spokesmodel for Hilltop Packs. So if you've watched this show before, Backpacking with Buckley, he is Buckley's a good dude, real good dude, and I guess he's now their spokesmodel. So,
well, that is very interesting because being by trade is like a videographer and photographer. In
Yes,
fact,
he
they
is.
had like a big time studio, and then I think they've done a lot of wedding stuff. So COVID, there wasn't really a whole lot of mass gatherings during then. So I think he downsized the photography and upsized the backpacking equipment. Started a new company, Apex Giants, right?
Giant. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So awesome. Well, good for Mr. Buckley. I love that.
Can you imagine a better looking man to like step into a spokesmodel role for Hilltop Packs? That's what I want to say.
He's a good fit for it. I got a trip coming up in March, sometime in March, that I'll get to see Mr. Buckley.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm missing him. I haven't seen him in a while. I've taken some big time trips with him, dude. I've been to
you have
a number of places. I think most recently was probably South Dakota. We flew out there.
Yeah, man. That's a pretty awesome trip.
Yeah, it was fun. And dude, I've been working on this video for the past like week to 2 weeks, and it's basically like demystifying backpacking. I feel like and I say this in the video. I feel like the barrier to entry of backpacking sounds very small. Like whenever I first started backpacking and I ask advice from some of my friends that don't backpack, they're basically like, well, there's not much to it. You literally just go out to the woods and put one foot in front of the other. But apparently there is a lot more to it.
There's a lot more to it than that. Yeah.
There's all kinds of gear. There's all kinds of logistics. There's permits, etc. Just like we talked about last week. And
which, can I clarify something from last week I found out this week?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're a photographer, technically you don't have to get a permit. I think it's only if you're going to bring a model out or something like that. Because I was watching a video from Jevin Dovey. I don't know if you know who that is on YouTube. And Jevin was saying that basically photographers can go out, take all the photos they want, but the moment you flip it over to video, suddenly now you're illegal. So,
yeah, that is weird. But
yeah, I had said last week that photographers had to pay regardless, and I was actually wrong about that. So I want to make sure I retract my comment. I want to publicly admit I got that one wrong. So just wanted to make sure we cleared that up.
Well, like I was saying, there's a whole lot more to backpacking than meets the eye. And so my idea in this video was I wanted to take the time to kind of unpack, if you will, some different aspects of backpacking and demystify it. I don't remember why I was telling you about that, though. What were we talking about before that?
Buckley being a good-looking man.
Yeah, there's that. That wasn't it. But anyway.
You had been on a lot of trips with him, and you talked about South Dakota. And then all of a sudden you came up with this story.
Yeah, I digress. That wasn't the point of what I was wanting to talk about today. I actually had a slide agenda today. Squirrel.
Woo, buddy.
I love it. I love it. So Anyway, what I did want to talk about today was about the weight of your pack and about gram weenies and about how
Ah.
you don't have to be a gram weenie in order to shed some weight from your pack. So I thought it would be fun for us to maybe share some stories or to give some advice or tips on specifically how we have achieved the ultralight backpacking status that we're the king of the world of. So, uh,
I
what do you
I
think
think
about
you
that?
are the king of the world. I am just merely riding your coattails all the way to
So,
glory.
I it's coming back to me on the
Oh,
story I've told about
okay.
the. So I'm making this video, and I basically went through an entire catalog of B-roll. Like you texted me yesterday about
Really?
B-roll, and you were talking about getting some B-roll for your new gear and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Video coming out,
Which, by the
and
way, if anybody's watching this and you ever decide to make a new gear video, you don't
uh,
have B-roll on gear you've not used yet. And so you kinda get kinda frustrated making the video talking about it because you don't have any B-roll of it, so
that is true. But I have a built-in cheat code for that. I say, "Hey Bridget, can you follow me outside?" And then she'll hold the camera, and I will
Good
have her
man.
to film a little B-roll. Yeah, she made a YouTube short with me yesterday, and sometimes it's so easy. You just say, "Here, hold this," and video. So I was talking about the video because I got to relive some great moments on these past trips,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was trying to demystify backpacking and give people just a general overview of what to expect and kind of some of the gear that you would have to collect to get your feet under you out there.
Right.
And I just thought of that because of Buckley. But anyway, again, I digress.
Buckley's
Um,
great.
yeah,
So
he
let's talk
is
about pack weight, man.
pack weight. So I think the lightest trip that I ever went on where I'm doing multiple nights in a row was probably during the winter time. I was doing part of the
Wait, hold
Shelto.
up. In the wintertime? It wasn't in the summer.
I was doing it in the winter time. Can't
Wow.
can't believe I was able to achieve this. I think it was like 17 pounds fully weighted out with 2 liters of water, my 3 days of food. I
How
mean
cold was it?
it was probably 30s, maybe.
And you were able to make that your lightest weight?
Well, I had some inspiration. My
Okay.
inspiration was, Hunter from Hunter's Trip.
Yes. He's Mr.
Awesome Instagram,
Ultralight.
YouTube. Yes. So, he's done a bunch of miles on the AT. We've had him on here before if anybody wants to check out the episodes. And, he come over to my place and kinda helped me figure out the best way to pack my backpack. We decided some gear to leave and that kinda stuff, and I took a frameless backpack. And I've decided that I can still do ultralight, quote unquote, and do a framed pack. So my first advice on um, shedding weight from your pack is focusing on your big three. That's going to be your number one um, enemy when it comes to pack weight. And basically, those big three would be your backpack, your sleep system, and your shelter system.
I couldn't agree
So
more.
let's do a little verses here, John.
Okay.
So if you are talking shelter system only, what do you think is going to be the lighter setup? Is it going to be your hammock with the tarp? Because you got to include that as your roof,
Mhm.
or is it going to be the tent?
For my personal gear,
For your
you
personal gear and just generally speaking.
well, see, you can't do that with me though, because
Why not?
I don't have the typical hammock setup. My
Well,
hammock
what?
setup is lighter than any tent I have.
Wait a second.
So,
How much is your hammock set up?
my hammock setup my hammock's just a shade over a pound, and my tarp's 7 ounces,
But what about your straps and all
and
that?
my straps and everything about 3 ounces combined.
Okay, so what are you weighing in at on your whole hammock situation with the stakes and all?
Just under 2 pounds.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's why I said that's not common. Like, that's why I don't you know, I you can definitely get I mean, here's the thing with some of the hammocks that are out now, you can get 7-ounce hammocks, so you could that could take that'd be what, another 12 ounces off of my setup?
Yeah, come to think of it, that hammock that, Jeremy, All Things Outdoors, made, it doesn't have a bug net on it, so I only use it in the wintertime, but that only weighs like 5.5 ounces.
Yeah, I mean, it really just here's the thing. Here's the thing I think about ultralight. You got two ways you can get ultralight. One, you get creative. You find creative ways to get gear that is lighter. You make your own gear, that kind of thing, or you save a lot of money because you can buy an ultralight setup really easy.
Yeah, dude, I am taking, one of my buddies with me on a trip pretty soon, and, I let him borrow some gear and stuff. He was over here for the Super Bowl, and, I was like, "Man, what should I send with him?" And I sent with him the Duplex L,
Okay.
which hopefully he doesn't tear that up because that's a pretty expensive tent. But
Yeah.
that that thing right there weighs almost nothing, and
That
that
weighs
that
what, like 18, 19 ounces?
yeah, I think probably right around 20 ounces
Around
would be
20? Okay. Yeah.
so that's lighter than your hammock setup, but I don't think that includes the stakes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Sure.
I know for me, the backpack was a big one.
Yeah.
That was the big one. Excuse me, sorry. Uh, the A-Light's kicking in. Sorry. No,
Kentucky Swamp.
I, uh, I have a backpack right now that's behind me. You can see it. This one right over my shoulder, right? Let me see if I can make my thumb do what it's supposed to do. Right there. That one?
Uh-huh.
That is my Z-Packs Arc Hall 50 liter. It weighs 20 ounces. And
Yeah,
it is a framed backpack. And
20 ounces
and
frame backpack.
it is the most comfortable backpack I currently own.
And what size did you say that is?
It's a 50 liter.
50 liter. Okay. Yeah, you can get away most of the year probably with that thing.
That's my standard backpack. Every backpack I have except for one that's going to be revealed in a video later on this week.
Ah,
All of them are 50 liters. Every single one of them. That's my
what
favorite
is it?
size of backpack. It's the perfect size to use whether it's a summertime, wintertime, and because of the way I pack my quilts, I don't have to have a smaller pack for the summer because I can just pack the quilts either tighter or let them fluff out a little bit more to fill up space.
But I remember one trip I went on that you were on, and you showed up and you had a quilt dangling off the back of the backpack.
Well, that's because that was Jason's quilt that I was bringing for him, and it did not
Oh,
fit in my backpack because I was carrying my 2 quilts plus his quilt. So, I
yeah,
brought
John,
his in the, what is it? The, storage sack hanging off the back of my backpack.
this sounds to me like an excuse of why you shouldn't have gotten a bigger backpack. That's what I'm thinking here.
You don't have to be like that, man. We are friends, like,
I don't have to call you
you
out like that.
you're just hitting me below the belt now, man. This really hurts. Like,
Well, I'll tell you this. I have been taking that Southwest 4400, the
that is
Hyperlight
a
one.
nice pack, man.
Yeah, I've been taking that on every trip that I've been going on since I got it, and that thing's 70 liters, and it just keeps eating. But
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's more than yours.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that thing weighs almost 2 pounds. I think that's about a 30, 32 ounce pack.
I think it's like closer to 2. I think it was supposed to be like 2 pounds, 6 ounces, and I think it's like
Oh,
closer
wow.
to 12 ounces.
Okay. Wow, so you're talking like 22, 24 ounces. Or I mean, not sorry, 24, 40, about
Yeah,
40 ounces?
yeah. So that's like double what you're using,
Dang, bro. Yeah, that's heavy. Well, I
which
know
is
like
stronger.
the Z-Packs one, even it's interesting because people kind of got off the Z-Packs train for a little bit if you noticed. Like when I first got to backpacking, everybody was a Z-Packs backpack. Everybody. Didn't matter who they were. Everybody got a Z-Packs. And then
What
all of a
happened?
sudden they kind of became less chic or something. I don't know. It's weird. Everybody quit using them. And then I got my hands on this Arc Hall last spring, I think March or April maybe. And the moment I put it on, I was like, oh my gosh, this is basically like 2 steps from heaven. It's like the nicest pack I've ever seen in my life. And Dan Becker actually said it was his favorite backpack of 2022.
I would
So
I'm this is a little bit nosy, but I would be curious to see, according to their sales, if they have. kept about the same rate of growth over time. Like you're saying that some people have kind of fallen off that wagon,
Well, I would
but I
say
would
mostly like YouTube people. Like you didn't see anybody. What really happened was you saw these cottage companies coming up all of a sudden, like Chicken Tramper and uh, Waymark. Man, Waymark. You talk about a company that's grown in the last few years.
mhm.
Um, those companies have started popping up more, and Atom Packs and some of these other ones, and you just didn't hear people talking about Z Packs like they used to. And all of a sudden, like Ultra Fabric comes around, and they're one of the ones that adopts to that. And dude, their packs are unreal. I think a lot of it was the Dyneema thing because apparently Dyneema squeaks on backpacks.
Mhm.
I've never had a Dyneema backpack, so I don't know what that's like. But a lot of people talk about the squeak that it had, and the Ultra Fabric doesn't do that at all.
Most of mine that are like not ultralight, but lighter weight are X Pack, I believe.
Yeah, I've got X Pack and Eco Pack.
Now, you're talking about the YouTubers and stuff. Just how biased do you think we are, or how I don't know how to phrase this question. I feel like where we have had YouTube channels for quite a number of years, I sometimes feel like we are more biased to the light that you see through YouTube, because I think there's thousands of backpackers out there that never watch a single YouTube video.
Oh, you're
And
probably right. Yeah, you're probably right.
yeah, so I really wonder how biased, or how, like, the lens, you know what I mean, that we
Mhm.
see backpacking through, and kind of how we consume and that kind of stuff. I just wonder how much it's painted by that whole YouTube thing, since we're a part of that community.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do know though that backpack, if you're talking ultralight, if you're willing to fork out $400,
Mhm.
it's just hard to beat it. I mean, I've carried 35 pounds in that thing, and it's supposed to carry up to 40, and I've carried 35 in it, and honestly, man, it was more comfortable than any pack I own at that weight.
And is that, the Z Packs or the Waymark?
The Z packs.
Okay.
The
Well,
Waymark, I haven't really had a chance. Though I have a Waymark that I want to check out more, but I haven't had a chance to yet. So,
so we covered the backpacks. We
yep,
talked a little bit about the shelter systems, which, if you wanna go true ultralight, I mean, just like a tent, I mean, not a tent, but a tarp setup, I think
that's as
that could be,
ultralight as you can get.
yeah,
Sorry about that.
maybe not the ones with the netting and, like, the bivy style and all that, but if you're just,
Right.
like, fully exposed except for the roof over your head, and that, I think it's not gonna get much lighter. And then, your sleep system.
Yeah, and
So
that one comes down to there's a lot with that because a lot of people say that it's going to be heavier with a hammock, which I kind of push back on that a little bit because they say you've got two quilts, but sleeping pads aren't like all ultra light. Like you can get ultralight sleeping pads, and you can get ultralight quilts. It just depends on
yeah,
what time of year it is, and everything gets heavier the colder it gets.
and with the hammock, like, you can get away I can get away much easier with a quilt in the hammock, and then you got your under quilt, than I
Right.
can a quilt on a pad, because it's so prone to drafts, whereas in the hammock, it's giving you a little hug from beneath.
And it really comes down to how much you move. If you're
Yeah,
someone that doesn't move a lot when you sleep, a quilt's probably gonna do just fine. As long as you got it strapped in right, you'll probably be fine through the night. But if you're someone who moves a lot in your sleep, you're probably gonna get drafts.
do you move a lot? You toss and turn?
When I sleep in a tent, yes. When I sleep in a hammock, I find the sweet spot and I'm done. Like I'm just out cold.
What about at home in the bed?
Yeah, I move around a lot at home too.
Yeah, I just wish that whenever I went to sleep, it was like sleeping in a coffin. I wish I could just, stiff as a board, and then I'll wake up in the exact same position, but I'll toss, I'll turn,
Well,
which
like I said,
maybe
a
is a better
hammock's
option.
the only place where I don't do that. Like a hammock, I literally get there, I find my spot. You know how it is
Mhm.
in a hammock, you lay diagonally. And then I finally like it was I think I'd been using a hammock for about 9 or 10 months when I finally found the sweet spot. And then once I found that, it was just like every time I get in a hammock, boom, I'm done. Good night. And I'm
Well,
snoring.
I hammock camp a lot too. Like, I was out last week I talked a little bit about my trip, um, where we done a loop around Laurel County and Pulaski County in Kentucky,
Yep.
Danny Boone National Forest. And I slept in a hammock on that. So I sleep in a hammock a lot. But what are you talking about whenever you're saying sweet spot? Because most people are tent campers. What does that even mean?
Well, with the difference between a hammock and a quilt, or a hammock and a tent, is in a hammock, you're not on the ground. So there's no pressure. Let's just say there's not as much pressure pushing up on you. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to negotiate with this piece of fabric, the most comfortable way to lay. And in a hammock, if you just lay in it straight, you get what they call banana hammock syndrome, where that sounds worse than what it actually is. But you literally are laying like a banana. Your butt's down low, your feet are up high, your head's up high, and
Yeah.
it's extremely uncomfortable. Your feet will fall asleep. All the blood's gonna rush there, and you're gonna have to go to the bathroom like every 15 minutes. Um, and the idea is you want to lay at a diagonal, which then causes your body to lay more flat. And then in the midst of all of that, you just kind of adjust yourself around until your body just hits a spot and you just know, okay, this is it.
Mm,
And then you're ready to go for the night. And that's usually how it works for me. I'll put in a movie or something. I've got a hang time hook that hangs up above my on my ridge line, and I'll
mhm.
put my phone up there and I might watch a little bit of a movie or something before I go to sleep. And for all you haters, I just spent all day with my sick daughter watching stupid toddler cartoons all day. So when I go camping, it's nice to watch an adult. Should be careful how I say that too. That sounds terrible too. To watch a movie that's not for children. Okay. So
I love hearing
this
John.
is this is all coming out wrong tonight, dude. It's all coming out wrong. I don't know what the deal is.
He's retracting statements. He's sticking his foot in his mouth. I love it.
Can you tell I've been sick the past 2 days? Like seriously, like I can't. My brain just is not working. I will
I
say something though. Like when you get your big three dialed in, that'll cut off a ton of weight, but
Uh-huh.
that's not where people blow it. It's not in the big three.
Where do they blow it?
A lot of it is in packing their fears. That is where the weight
Oh,
comes in. That is where everybody goes from ultralight to lightweight to not lightweight.
okay.
And it's
What's your
usually clothing and food.
Is that what you bring? Clothing and food?
I say that's what most people, especially when you start out, you bring way too much food and you bring way too many clothes.
Yeah, but what's your fear, John?
I
The
fear
world wants
nothing.
to know.
I fear nothing.
Fear nothing. There's nothing that you're like, yeah, I'm definitely bringing that just in
I
case.
would
Just
say in the wintertime, I would say in the wintertime, I'm more cautious
yeah.
because when that temperature dips, man, you got to be careful. That can really mess you up, you know? Um, so I usually bring like more clothing and stuff in the wintertime to keep myself warm. In the summertime, there's not really, I wouldn't say I have any fears. I would say the only thing I'm cautious about is water, like especially here in Kentucky because it gets up into the 90s and hundreds, and the humidity is like 90%. You got to really be careful with water. But I don't know that I would say I pack fears at this point. I think I did, but I wouldn't say I do that now. Do you?
well, before I answer that question, I have a
Oh, you
hypothetical
get
here.
you get to skip around the question, but I got to answer it. I see
Well,
how this works.
Jason
I
says
see
I
how
could
this
be a
works.
politician. Bridget, she'll ask me she'll ask me stuff here at the house all the time, and she'll ask, like, a direct question, and I'll just answer it. You gotta tiptoe around, man. Sometimes you ask a question as your answer. So,
It's terrible.
w what about this?
No, no, no.
Aren't
You got to answer the question. What are your
what?
fears?
Okay.
You have to answer
Confess
it. Yeah, you made me answer it. You have to answer it.
Alright, a little confession time.
Okay.
In the wintertime, it is not uncommon for me to bring 2 puffy jackets, and when
Really?
Oh, yeah, dude, so I have shout out to Outdoor Vitals. They sent me this jacket. They're one of our sponsors, they're not sponsoring today's episode, but they sent me this jacket. It's the Nova Pro jacket,
Oh, it's
and
a
I think
good jacket.
it's a good jacket, and they claim that it is, twice as windproof because there's, like, 10,000 less stitches in it,
Yep.
and that it is 5 times water resistant. So, not to talk about this jacket too much, but on the way home from, our little Valentine's Day date earlier today, I was wearing this and Bridget's like, "There's a feather sticking out." And I was like, "I thought this was synthetic," because they were talking about how waterproof it was.
Yeah.
And,
It's
I'm
not
just like,
synthetic though. It's down. It's down
"Oh,
LT, I think, or something like that.
oh, that's where the feather came from. I burned a hole in it. Little trail patina. It must have happened on my last trip. Just found the hole."
So you were about to dog the jacket, and it was all your fault.
No, well, no, I'm not about to dog the jacket. No, Bridget was just like, "There's a feather sticking out of there." I wore it, you know,
Yeah.
on her date, but
Yeah.
anyway, I will bring 2 puffy jackets a lot of times whenever it's gonna be around freezing. Like this trip that we were on, I think the lowest temp I'm gonna misquote myself because I'm sure I talked about it last week and it was accurate. I think it was like 18 degrees maybe or something, and
Yeah, it
that's
was
pretty
cold.
cold. I even zipped the jacket up around the foot box of my quilt because
Really?
my feet were cold because I dropped my, I may I already told you this, I dropped my AirPods case and I was looking everywhere for it and I was just wearing socks and it was like 20 degrees outside. My feet got super cold and then I found it. It was still in my hammock. Yeah. Dude, this is the number one problem with hammocks.
You know that you can, like, hit a button on your phone and it'll make your case beep, right?
It'll make the case beep too. I
Yeah.
don't think the case has any speakers in it.
Yeah, it does.
No, well, I think
Right
that
here,
that's
dude. See if you can look. Come on, focus. Oh, hold up. Let me do something here without spilling my
now.
drink. See
I
those
have
little
the
see those 3 little dots on top?
That's not what mine looks like, John. You got the
Speakers.
upgrade. You got the upgrade, dude. I have see, that's the AirPod Pros.
Well, that's because you had the AirPod Pros, didn't you?
I had the AirPod Pros, but these are the AirPod like the regular ones. It's not even the wireless charging case,
Are
which
you
I did
sure they
do
don't
it.
have that on those though?
There's no speaker on it. The only speakers are in the, actual AirPods.
Well, you
I
wasted your
don't
money.
Well, I would pay more. I would pay $300 for those AirPod Pros as they fit in my ears, but they
Didn't you
don't
try
like
the other, like, inserts?
I tried them all, and it's not the inserts, it's like the plastic part. It's got the little rubber thing on it that just sticks in your ear,
Yeah,
and then the plastic part touched my ear, and I don't know what the deal was, but it just hurt. It's like it just didn't fit right, and I tried
really?
it comes with, like, 3 different interchangeable rubber tip things, whatever
Huh.
they are, and none of them worked, but anyway, the point is that I wear 2 puffy jackets sometimes.
That's fair. I know also that you get cold real easy.
I get cold real easy, and we're having that weight loss competition at work right now. So trying to get my body fat percentage down and win some big bucks, which
There
means
you
I get
go,
cold
man.
even easier. But now the fear thing.
Yes. No, a lot of people, like, it's, "Well, I wanna make sure I have enough food," and what ends up happening is they come back and they've got still a bag that's half full of food, which
Yeah,
is
that's
weight that you're carrying. Or they bring, like, I remember I had a buddy, Ian, like, took him on his first trip with me and Jason. We were just doing an overnight. Dude, he brought, like, 4 peanut butter sandwiches because, like, well, I might get hungry on trail. He brought, like, an extra pair of jeans and,
extra
some
pair.
other stuff, and I'm the whole time he's packing, I'm like, "Dude, don't bring that stuff." And he's like, "No, no, I need to bring it. I need to bring it. Like, you don't know, like, I could need blah, blah, blah."
He's
And
scared.
I'm telling you, dude, that is the biggest thing for people when they first start is too many clothes, too much food. Almost every time. Almost every time. Those are the 2 things. Or, um, like my buddy Josh, who I hike with,
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's a fear thing. He just drinks a ton of water. I've never met anybody who drinks as much water as he does. And anytime we go and get water, he fills up all of his bottles. Like, I'm talking like 3 liters of water carrying around with him almost all the time.
He's probably way more hydrated than us.
Probably. Yeah.
Bet his pee is crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
Okay.
Absolutely. I don't know. I mean, I've not gone and watched him urinate because that's awkward. But
Yeah.
he definitely drinks a lot of water.
Now, aren't you afraid of getting bit by one of those ticks and getting that disease where you can't have red meat? Because that's one of my number one fears.
Really?
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm very scared of that. Can you imagine not eating steak for the rest of your life or however long that lasts?
Well, I mean, here's the thing though, man. They have stuff called insect repellent.
It's a tick.
Yeah, there's repellents that work on ticks too.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? I'm not buying it.
That's
I'm
always my
literally
favorite response. Like, I think if we were to go back through the history of this podcast, and like I get $2 for every time you said that,
yeah.
I could probably go buy another one of those Arcall backpacks.
Is that my
Like, I'm not
catchphrase?
buying it. I'm not buying it.
No, I mean, I treat my gear, in the spring, I'll treat it with permethrin
Right.
and like spray down my tent and stuff and my hiking pants and all that. But you still can get ticks, and I'm still really afraid. And I have that thing on my insurance. See, I got the state insurance because I'm a teacher,
Yeah.
and you can buy like cancer policies and all that. I'm sure you can do it with any privatized
Do you have a
insurance policy.
tick policy?
I have a tick policy, but it's only for Lyme. Is it Lyme or Lyme's disease?
Lyme's disease.
Lyme's disease. So if I get Lyme's disease, then it's supposed to kick in an extra, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 20,000. But I'm
Yeah.
sure it's still not enough to cover all the expenses with going through and getting the medicine and going to the doctor and all that.
Lyme's disease is actually pretty scary, man. Like, I'd be more concerned with that than I would be the meat thing. At least you're alive. Most people I think who get Lyme's disease don't make it.
What is life without a cheeseburger and a steak? Is it worth living?
I mean, you could still eat your Chick-Fil-A.
Hey, we got some spicy comments. No pun intended.
We did, man. We did. I got text messages. Did I tell you this? I got one today. Can I read you the text message I just got?
Yeah.
Okay. This is no joke.
Wait. John if you didn't hear last week's episode, I think he was arguing that Chick-fil-A is overrated and Zaxby's is better, which is insane.
So Taylor McDonald, who has the channel Southern Hike, he sends me he said, and you were on it too, I think. He goes, JK, you broke my heart with the Chick-fil-A comment. Dude, I'm telling you, Chick-fil-A is a cult. I don't think people actually like the chicken. I think it's actually like a cult at this point because you're allowed to dislike a lot of things. Like if I dislike McDonald's, people aren't going to get mad at me. If I dislike Pizza Hut, nobody's going to get mad at me. If I dislike Chick-fil-A, I get text messages, multiple text messages all over the place, private messages. Nobody threatened my life yet. But I mean, dude, I'm telling you, Chick-fil-A is a cult. We should probably be very careful. I'm wondering what they're putting in that chicken to make you all believe like that.
I think that they don't they use holy water with the chicken? Is that one of the ingredients? I'm pretty sure that's Jesus' chicken.
Guess what I had for dinner tonight?
Oh, please tell me it's Chick-fil-A.
It
not
was.
Zach. Oh, see? Represent.
Well, here's the problem I had. I was disappointed in Chick-fil-A tonight.
Why do they not give you Chick-fil-A sauce?
I had my little. They didn't, which is really weird. Like I didn't get any Chick-fil-A sauce.
You have to request.
No, well, that should be a given, apparently, but that's okay. What bothered me was I told my son, who turned 5 like 2 weeks ago, I said, we're going to get milkshakes too. Because I assumed like every restaurant in the world, they have child-sized milkshakes.
Yeah.
No, they don't. They have one size milkshake.
At Chick-fil-A, they have one size milkshake?
One size milkshake. And I couldn't get it there's no way I'm buying that for my son because he won't eat his meal, And
How big is it?
It's like a large size he wouldn't even finish it. It'd be more than he could finish. And so I guarantee he wouldn't eat his dinner, which that's no good. And so then I had to be the bad dad. Like literally Chick-fil-A made me a bad dad.
Well,
so I have a little bit more of a beef with Chick-fil-A than what I started out with, just so you know.
Let me say two things. First of all, that's funny about Taylor, and shout out to him. Hopefully he's listening to this while he's running right now. And Taylor, keep going, bro.
Taylor's main
run
dude.
Faster, Taylor. You need to run faster right now. Okay, back to normal speed. Taylor, keep going. Second thing, did you hear
like daily affirmations from Jeremiah?
Yeah, a little David Goggins coming out of me there. Did you see that meme or joke about starting a side business next to Chick-fil-A that's only open on Sundays?
That would be a wise idea.
Yeah. You didn't see this?
No.
And if I remember correctly, the punchline was, you call it kin side chicken. You get it?
That's great.
I think
That's
I got a
great.
button for that. Nope, wrong button.
It's all secure in Sector 7.
What's
Oh,
going on, Honkers?
producer Jeremiah here.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. That's funny. So, okay, so back to the topic at hand. We were talking about,
Yeah,
packing your fears. I think it's the little things that you can pack that take your ultralight from ultralight to lightweight. What things are you I think if you really wanna go ultralight, you have to ask the question, "What am I willing to go without?"
I think that you're right. I mean, you're not the number one thing you can do is literally just bring less gear. But I had a couple of little tips here.
Oh, I wanna
Um,
hear them.
One was like for your clothing, you talked about packing your fears. I think you need to limit yourself and of course hike your own hike, but
Right,
generally
right.
one set of clothes for hiking, one set of clothes for camping. And
And for
I bring
overnights,
uh
sometimes you don't need to even bring an extra set of clothes. Like, if you're just doing an overnight
mhm.
and you're not, like maybe bring an extra shirt. You don't need to bring an extra set of clothes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, and it's all personal preference, but I'm right
right.
there with
Yeah.
and of course a little disclaimer. If it's wintertime, then there's nothing wrong with bringing those extra layers. But if
Yeah.
it's gonna be a low of 70 degrees or 75 degrees at
Don't
night,
bring the extra clothes, man.
yeah, like I'll leave my puffy at the house. But yeah, I put like one set of clothes for hiking, one for camping. Maybe bring extra pair of underwear if you don't want to turn them inside out, or um, maybe an extra pair of socks. But also like anything that has multiple uses. Like
Yes.
some people like to bring throwaway plates that they could either burn or carry back out in their trash. But some people will bring like solid plate. What is that?
The buff.
Oh, buff multiple uses. Yeah.
That is a valuable piece of gear, man. Like, the buff can be used for so many things.
That's your
Like,
beanie, that's your napkin, that's your neck warmer,
your
that's your
pot holder.
blindfold, that's your sweatband.
Yeah. I mean, if it gets really hot, dip it in the water and just put it over your head, cool you down.
Yeah,
I mean, it can be a balaclava in the wintertime. I mean,
I tell
they
you,
they are so good.
the number one use for that thing is I said blindfold, but what I mean is like a sleep mask.
Yeah, yeah.
The sun wakes you up in the morning, but anything and that also includes, like I mentioned earlier, my puffy jacket. I zip that instead of bringing down booties, which sometimes I do. I was like, my pack already weighs 40 pounds. I'm just going to zip my puffy jacket up around my foot box if I
Right.
get. So there's that, and then, dude, you're talking about the water and Josh carrying the water.
Mhm.
If you're on a trail that has plenty of water, there's no reason to carry two and a
1
half
bottle
liters.
at a time until you get to camp.
Yes.
Fill up right before
One
camp.
1 liter while you're walking, because that's the heaviest thing, really in your pack is your water and your food, but
And
I'll
honestly,
just
try to camp near water. Like, if you're planning out your campsites and you're planning out your trip, you can plan a trip out to make your trip lighter. Like, you know,
yeah,
camp
absolutely.
near water. So you just get to camp, you can take your backpack off, grab a couple bottles, and go fill them up. You don't have to, like, fill them up, throw them on your back, and walk to camp, you know?
Yeah, usually the way I plan my trip is I look at the elevation profile and see which one has the least up. That's what
Mm. That I like those kinds of trips.
all downhill from here. And then, I'll wrap up my little tips with focusing on ounces, not pounds, because if you really, like, got your big 3 dialed in, then you're not gonna shed that many more pounds. Like, those ounces will add up if you wanna do the gram weenie style, and
Yeah,
before you know it, you have shed 8 ounces from your pack
which
just
is
by
half
focusing.
a pound.
Yeah, by focusing on those little ounces. Probably
Yep.
not cut my toothbrush in half,
But
but
here's another one for you.
alright.
Like, people who do a lot of overnight trips, because that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people do, like, Friday, Saturdays or Saturday, Sundays. They don't do, like, full weekends. You can brush your teeth when you get home.
Oh, no, I have to
Seriously,
advocate.
like, for one night?
I have to
Yeah.
advocate against that. That is poor dental hygiene, and I have to say I am
I'm just
100%
telling you,
against.
dude, like, if it's just an overnight, you're gonna brush your teeth before you leave, and you're gonna brush your teeth when you get home, so you've brushed your teeth each day.
I
Just
cannot
saying.
advocate for this.
You I don't care if you do.
John's hiking his own hike.
I'm daggone right, man. And can I add too, like, just really decide what you don't need. Like,
That's what it
if
is,
it
necessity over comfort.
yeah, I mean, if the goal is lightweight, then prioritize it, if that's what you want. But if you're gonna prioritize comfort, then don't get so caught up in the weight. You know, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Like, the
Yeah.
problem is people have gotten into this thing where they feel like they have to be ultralight to be considered a backpacker, and that's not true.
Where do you think that is? What is that? You think they just see other people or they see it online or there's pressure from somewhere?
Well, let's put it this way, like, what causes style? It's famous people wearing certain clothes, and so people wanna look like famous people. And
Yeah.
so, what are people gonna be influenced by for backpacking? They're gonna be influenced by these long trail hikers that are doing Triple Crowns and all that stuff, who are kind of the celebrities of backpacking. They're gonna
Mhm.
look to YouTube's, people like Dan and, Steven Smith, who have massive channels and are doing some awesome stuff. They're gonna look to them for advice, and if those people are pushing a narrative of ultralight, which for years, from probably like 2015 till about 2021, that's all you ever heard.
Mhm.
Ultralight, ultralight, ultra. It's not until recently people are going, hold up a second. You know what? Forget that. Lightweight's okay. You know what I mean? Like now you're hearing people going, I'm not going without a chair. Like you and I are those people. I'm not going backpacking without a chair. Heck
I
no.
totally agree.
And it's an extra pound to a pound to 2 pounds, depending on what chair you're taking, or in your case, it could be up to 4 pounds, and that's your choice. I think you just have to decide: is the weight the most important thing? And if it is, then you got to figure out what things you're going to cut out. And if you're deciding, you know what, I'd rather just get to camp and really chill and enjoy myself. You know?
Really depends on the trip, but most of my trips, that's the attitude.
Yeah, yeah. I I'm trying to get lighter with other gear so that I can take the things I want to take. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And I will say this, you left off a big name there on the influencers or whatever you want to call it for YouTube. That is Miss Jessica, aka
Oh,
Homemade Wanderlust.
this is
Dixie.
true.
She will be joining us. Everybody come to our live stream on Monday night, February the 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That is next week.
That is next week
Next
on
week.
Monday. We're counting down the days here on the Backpacking Podcast.
This is a 3-year thing for us. We have been trying. We have wanted her on this channel since we started this thing. And now we're going to get her on here. And I can't tell you just how excited I am. Like I got lots of questions, man. Lots of
I do too.
questions. And
Yeah.
she's someone that's interesting too because she's allergic to down.
Yeah. And she's also an engineer, but she's walks around homeless most days of the year through the woods. How
Yeah.
unbelievable is that?
Well, but we're talking about ultralight. She can't use the same kind of ultralight we use. I mean, she's using as light a weight as she can on her gear, but she's got to use synthetic jackets. She's got to use synthetic insulation at night for sleep.
Mm-hmm.
She, I mean, have you seen the photos and videos of her when she's around down? What it does to her face, like
It looks like she's got stung by a bee.
yeah, and
Alert.
that's horrible. I hate that for her, but she's someone that probably we can ask the question about ultralight. Are you still considered ultralight or are you lightweight now because of this?
Mm-hmm.
Don't
That's
know.
good.
Don't know what the
But
situation is there.
hopefully everybody's enjoyed our terrible advice today on how to shed weight. We're not good at gaining weight. I'm good at gaining weight, not shedding.
That's
So
okay. I won't remember anything we said today. So
yeah, yeah. Hopefully it helps somebody out there. And I look forward to seeing everybody Monday. Hopefully you'll join us. If not, we will put that episode up on Wednesday for
yeah, and
everybody.
that will be live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube channel. So if you are listening to this right now, look us up on YouTube, The Backpacking Podcast. We are the only channel called The Backpacking Podcast. So if you find that channel, you should see a little logo with two guys and a beard. Well, two beards. Two beards.
Not one unibeard on both of us.
And right now, you've got the beard that kind of matches it. I don't. I actually trim mine down. So,
hey, I will tell you before we go.
yes.
The first day of spring. Bzzz.
Why does it have to be buzz? Why can't it just be trim?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you can still keep the beard, just trim it.
It'll be shorter than yours. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, well, there are worse things, I guess. Not many, but there are some worse things in this world than that. So with that said, for myself and Jeremiah, thank you guys for tuning in. We will catch you on the next one.
Adios, folks.